Russia continues to use Belarus as a training ground for military exercise and as a loophole to circumvent sanctions. We are talking not only about luxury goods, but also dual-use components for military usage.
Смотрим мы 2022 год.
Let's look at the year of 2022. Russia has 3.6 plus, Belarus has 3.8 plus %. Look at the year of 2023 and the parameters are far from even stagnation. Russia and Belarus, as part of the axis of evil, have certainly found ways to circumvent sanctions through existing loopholes both in European legislation and in the actual trade regime with countries such as Turkey, India, China and all other countries. Moreover, this was easy to do even with the EU, including for gas, agricultural products, fertilizers, finance. The sanctions from hell promised in 2022, which were supported to force Russia to peace, essentially did not work.
In this regard, European leaders intend to tighten their sanctions policy towards the Kremlin ally. It is planned to stop the flow of diamonds and luxury cars into Belarus. After all, today European automakers can still sell their high-end cars to Belarus.
The folks around Lukashenko, who had ties to Russia, were big beneficiaries of this. They were enriching themselves. We also know this is how luxury goods get into Russia, through Belarus. Vytis Jurkonis, head of the Lithuanian office of Freedom House, in an interview with the Financial Times.
According to estimates by the Financial Times, the monthly flow of vehicles and auto parts from EU countries to Belarus increased from $50 million in 2022 to $268 million in 2024. EU customs services are confident that Belarusian companies have become a key part of Russian smuggling chains, supplying new Western cars to Russia.
Sanctions imposed on Russia or in the Belarusian regime cannot work effectively if they are not synchronized. Dictators use each other to circumvent sanctions and continue to trade. The Belarusian regime is buying military stuff, luxury cars for Russia. Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, Belarusian opposition leader, in an interview with the Financial Times.
The new restrictions will prohibit the supply of technologies and goods that may have military applications, as well as LNG to Belarus, and ban the transit. At the same time, experts know that tougher sanctions against Belarus and Russia are not only extremely necessary, but also are no longer sufficient in the third year of the war. Today, the task of Ukraine's Western partners is to provide Kyiv with all the necessary weapons for success on the battlefield.
If we all stop speculating about the percentage impact of sanctions and regimes on the Russian and Belarusian economies, like it could have grown by 4.5%, but it grew by 3.8%, how well done! This is a country with an economy of more than $2 trillion and the size of government spending of $350–800 billion. It can afford to spend $100 to $200 billion on war annually. You'd better launch military-industrial complex factories as quickly as possible and provide us with weapons.
Let us recall that earlier in an interview with Reuters, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called on partners to speed up the process of transferring weapons to Ukraine, noting that as a rule, assistance promised by allies is delayed by at least a year. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Yulia Granovska, UATV News.